Hello, students. Today, I'm going to give you an overview of activity number 14 that is on your module sheet, the one that I told you that wasn't recorded yet. So this information I'm talking about is number 14. Of course, you have to answer some questions. So in this section, I'm going to talk about globalization. I'm going to talk further more about the civil rights movement, particularly how American women fought for equal rights and equal opportunity. People who influenced our American culture in different aspects like science, architecture, literature, medicine. Some people that I talk about you're going to be familiar with, and you have to do some type of activity with those people as I present them in this presentation. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm also going to talk about some peacetime technological advances that made the lives of Americans better, and it benefited various industries. So a lot of information here, a lot of mouthful here. Uh, on this page, it talks about the changing role of women. We talked about the fact that women after World War II did double duty roles. They were expected to go back into the household and do household chores and household duties when the men came back from the war. But women also went back into factories to provide for their families alongside their husbands. So women did double duty, working in the factory and providing for their children or family at home. So back to changing role of women. You had workplace disadvantages. You had discrimination against women in hiring practices. For example, lower wages for women than for men doing the same job. Improved conditions. There's an organization that formed in 1966 called the National Organization for Women, called NOW, and that pushed for legal action and laws and policies to make it fair for women in the workforce, make it fair for women in the military, make it fair for women in government. Um, you had federal legislation to force colleges to give women equal athletic opportunities. And that was a program called Title IX, where girls can play basketball, lacrosse, soccer, softball, baseball, track and field. Back then, there wasn't a lot of money or an encouragement for women to play sports. Some people thought that only girls could cheerlead, be a cheerleader, but that changed in the 60s and 70s. Then you have the Equal Rights Amendment. Despite its failure and a focus on equal opportunity employment, it created a wider range of options and advancements for women in business and public service. And they put the ERA up for vote this year, and they still didn't ratify it. And you'll learn more about ratifying the Constitution later on. This part right here talks about globalization, post World War II America. Globalization basically means that you or countries work together around the globe. They trade, they communicate with each other, they help each other out in need if they are attacked, or they just communicate with each other to make the world a safer and better place. It says between the end of World War II and the present, the world has been marked by an increase in globalization and interdependence. So interdependence means that you depend on other countries for products and services. Globalization is the linking of nations through trade, information, technologies, and communications. And you see a picture of this on this page where you have people connected to each other by internet and they live in different parts of the world. So globalization helps that. One way that helps bring us together is the internet, like Facebook and Twitter and looking up stuff online that you can communicate with people in another country. The impact of globalization on American life. It says improvement of all communication, for example, travel, telecommunications, and the internet. Number two, availability of a wide variety of foreign made goods and services. That's why if you look at your clothes and shoes and products and your cell phones, you see they're made in a certain country. They're made in China, made in Japan, made in Mexico, made in England, made in Nigeria, made in Cuba, made in Brazil. So that's the impact of globalization because some countries can't just produce things on their own and that's it because you need stuff from other countries in order to survive. Um, number three, it says the outsourcing of jobs. And what that means is some jobs, some factories move some of their things over to another country or operations to another country. And that's going to help other countries put their people back to work. The bad thing about it is some people in the country where the factories came from, they lose jobs. And that's what's going on the last 40 years. That, the outsourcing of job kind of hurts people. Because some countries can make things a lot cheaper than a country that made the product first. Now, here's an example of that, and y'all have probably experienced that before. Here's two people talking to each other from different countries. The guy from the United States says, "Hello, is this technical support?" The guy over here is from India and says, "Yes, it is. How can I help you?" So this job has been outsourced to another country. And that's why when you have a problem with your satellite or your cell phone or something, you talk to somebody, they're from another country. And that's an example of outsourcing. Hi, how may I help you? All right. So this page right here talks about how there are different technologies and developments that made people's lives better. Industries that benefit from new technologies. You have the airline industry, the jet engine. Number two, the automobile industry and interstate highway system. Entertainment and news media industries. Exploration of space. Computer industry. Satellite systems, telecommunications. Pagers, cell phones, and TVs. Internet. Okay. The airline industry got a boost by the jet engine, and that helped with jet populism, or helped with jet explosion of make the planes go faster and quicker, particularly for our military. So the jet engine played a big role in that. I said population. I can't say that word, but it made airline industry and air travel a lot better. And down here you see the World Wide Web, which is the internet, quicker access to information. And you got the internet right there. So on these pages, you're going to name the industry that benefited from these new technologies: automobile, airline, space exploration, entertainment, news, media, satellite systems, telecommunications, computer, and internet. Some may have more than one answer. So don't ask me. Some have more than one answer. Same thing for here. On the impact of new technologies on American life in more detail, says increased domestic and international travel for business and pleasure. Number two, greater access to news and other information. Three, cheaper, more convenient means of communication. You can send a text to somebody. You can send an email, which is cheaper than talking to somebody on the phone or writing a letter to somebody or walking to that person's house. Four, greater access to heating and air conditioning, improve the quality of life, and encourage population growth in certain areas of the country. If you live in hot Arizona, which is 110 degrees, or hot Texas, which is 105 degrees, or hot Florida, or hot Atlanta, you have an air conditioning system that's going to keep your home or business cool. So that's going to make the population of those areas grow stronger and larger because they have something that's going to help them stay there. Same thing if you were to move to a cold environment like Alaska, or up in the upper Midwest, or out in the Great Plains where it's cold or the temperatures get real low, below zero. You have a heating system. It's going to help the population stay there, or help people move there. It's going to encourage people to move there. Decreased regional variation resulting from nationwide access to the same entertainment and information provided by national television and radio programming, internet services, and computer games like Minecraft and Pac-Man, NPR, Fox News, Comcast, Verizon, MSNBC, CNN. All those different aspects connect people together, and it brings people together, and doesn't make people too different no matter where they live in the country. It brings people together, even though they're different. So that's what number 5 means. Here's some short answer questions you need to answer on the handout that I'm going to give you. I'm not going to read through the questions. Same thing for here. Some of these we'll do as a class. Same thing for here. Same thing for number 12. All right, in this section, it talks about representative citizens who influence America scientifically, culturally, academically, and economically. So you're going to have to do some type of small project on them. Pick like 2 people, do a Who Am I poem, write an obituary on the person, write a bubble map describing that person like a character web an acrostic on their name. And you got categories with people under them: science, Charles Drew; medicine, Robert Oppenheimer; physics; culture, Frank Lloyd Wright; architecture, Martha Graham; dance; academics, Henry Louis Gates; history, Maya Angelou; literature; economics, Bill Gates. Ding, ding, ding. Everybody know who he is. Computer technology, Microsoft; Ray Kroc; franchising, McDonald's. I'm loving it. Here's Charles Drew, African American surgeon who pioneered methods of storing blood plasma for transfusion, and he did the first blood transfusion. So biography.com is featured on every slide as I go through this presentation. That's a source where you can find your information on one of the projects you can do, like a Who Am I poem, an acrostic, writing an obituary, and a character bubble map. And I'll show you how to do any of those if you need further explanation. J.P. Robert Oppenheimer, he's known as the father of the atomic bomb, and he led the Manhattan Project. He was a leading academic, engineers, and physicists of his day, scientists of his day. Call him the father of death, I think, in some circles. Yeah, and he even bragged about it. Frank Lloyd Wright, modern architect who designed an organic and distinctly American style. He designed numerous iconic buildings. A lot of our urban areas have buildings that are modeled after this genius right here. Martha Graham is considered by many to be the 20th century's most important dancer and the mother of modern dance. She did a lot of choreography in New York City, a lot of art studios and dance studios. Very talented choreographer and dancer of her lifetime. Henry Louis Gates, he's the only person in this presentation that's alive. The rest of these people are deceased. He's a professor, Henry Louis Gates, one of the premier scholars of African American literature and African diasporic studies in general. He's hosted a lot of programs, and he's big on PBS, and he's big into helping people find their roots, where their ancestors came from. Maya Angelou was a poet and award-winning author known for her acclaimed memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and her numerous poetry and essay collections. Very influential, phenomenal woman, very influential lady. She's one of my favorite poets. Great lady. Bill Gates. Let me backtrack on what I just said. There's two people in here that are still alive: Bill Gates and Henry Louis Gates. Everybody else is deceased. Bill Gates, entrepreneur, which is a business person, founded the world's largest software business, Microsoft, with Paul Allen, and became one of the richest men in the world. Very rich man. He gives a lot of money to charity, a lot of other organizations to help people who are in need in the United States and around the world. So Bill Gates. Ray Kroc, I'm loving it. He was an American entrepreneur, which is a businessman or business person who goes into business to make a profit and takes a risk. Best known for expanding McDonald's from a local chain to the world's most profitable restaurant franchise operation. I think McDonald's has something that says 1 billion or billion served. So Ray Kroc. Okay, so research him and learn more about him. All right, so that's a wrap. Yep. Oh, well, this slide, went too far, kids. Sorry about that. Anyway, I went too far, and we'll talk about these topics later on. Some of these topics are in the form of Brain Pop videos. All right, talk to you later. Peace.